Good afternoon, viewers. Today we are going to discuss or learn about the treaty on non-proliferation of the nuclear weapons. So, look at the first slide. Can you relate these pictures to one or the other event in the world history? Yes, all these pictures are related to the nuclear explosions during the Second World War. In the first slide, when you see it, the first picture, it is of the Trinity site. Okay, so this is the first nuclear explosion conducted by Americans in 1945, and the next one is the famous mushroom cloud which is formed over Nagasaki on 9th of August 1945 after America, with the consent of United Kingdom, have dropped atomic bomb in 1945. Next is the ruins of Genbaku, which is the present Hiroshima Peace Memorial after it was bombed during the Second World War. So, after looking at these pictures, you can say that one step have led to another step. The testing of the nuclear weapons, then it leads to its usage, then it leads to the total destruction. So, we study about this NPT, that is the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty under the arms race in international relations. Okay, so in the next slide, you have to know, first of all, to know about what is non-proliferation, first you have to get the idea of what is proliferation or how was nuclear proliferation after the Second World War. When you see when you when you assess the term of proliferation, it is like the proliferation is just the increase in number. Okay, but here nuclear proliferation means it is the probability that more number of states tend to acquire nuclear weapons. Okay, so the proliferation takes place in both the ways, that is the horizontal and also the vertical. When the horizontal proliferation means it is the probability that the spread of nuclear weapons is taking place from one country to another country. As you can see in this map that USA is the first country which became nuclear in 1945. Then next it is Russia, which became nuclear in 1949. So you can see in the picture in the world map that most of the countries have become nuclear after the spread of the nuclear technology from one country to another country. So these countries are followed by United Kingdom, France, China, India and Pakistan. So this is how the horizontal proliferation takes place. It have only took place only after the Second World War, and it was at its zenith during the Cold War. And coming to the next slide, that is vertical proliferation. What is vertical proliferation? Vertical proliferation is increase in the number of the nuclear warheads. So what do these nuclear weapon states tend to do is, they tend to increase the number of weapons in the nuclear arsenals. So as you can see this, it is by 2019, each and every country were having so many of the warheads in their nuclear arsenals. So Russia, it is the leading with 6,490 weapons, and followed by USA with 6,185 warheads. So as you can see, all these countries, they tend to increase more and more nuclear warheads in their arsenal. So to understand how these countries tend to proliferate like their nuclear weapons, you should have the basic knowledge of what is the vertical proliferation. Now let us do a case study of India. When in case study of India, India's nuclear program, it began in 1944, and in the first slide, as you can see, this is Operation Smiling Buddha, which was conducted in 1974, where we have successfully tested our first nuclear fission bomb or atom bomb. And second is our first nuclear fusion bomb that is conducted or tested under successfully Operation Shakti. So India became nuclear by 1998, and what is the present status? Now India is a nuclear triad country. Nuclear triad means we are having a land-based intercontinental ballistic missile, that is Agni 5, and Sabchat Jagar, which is a strategic aircraft bomber carrying the nuclear weapons, which is also having the second strike capability, and also INS Arihant, which is a nuclear powered submarine consisting of the Sagarika missiles. Sagarikas are the submarine launched ballistic missiles with a range of 600 to 700 kilometers. So this is how the nuclear weapon states, each and every state tend to increase its or proliferate its nuclear arsenal by stockpiling more modern, sophisticated and the precise warheads. Moving on, see, now we are entering into NPT, that is the Treaty on Non-Proliferation. So the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons is a legally binding multilateral treaty committed to arms control and also disarmament. First, you should take into note that NPT, it was initiated as an arms control measure, and at the same time it also aimed at disarmament in its long run. Now, as it was enforced on 5th of March 1970, at present it consists of 191 countries as its member states, with only 4 states remaining outside. So you can say that this treaty is near universality, and it is reviewed for every 5 years, means it has a provision that constitutes that the review conferences should be held for every 5 years to check how it is functioning. And United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs is the de facto secretariat of NPT, means it organizes the bilateral talks and multilateral talks between countries. At the same time, it also organizes the review conferences. At the same time, it also functions along with International Atomic Energy Agency, which safeguards this agreement. At the same time, it is also the export control regime, which consists of missile technology control regime and also nuclear suppliers group, which help the NPT while exporting of the fissile materials. So these are the basic known facts about NPT. So when you look at this map, see the purple colored states, they are called as nuclear weapon states according to NPT. So do you wonder how these states are recognized as nuclear weapon states? It is simple. Why? Because this treaty have provisions which states that the countries which have tested their nuclear weapons before 1st of January 1967 are the nuclear weapon states. At the same time, the green colored states are considered as non-nuclear weapon states, and the yellow colored countries, that is India, Israel, Pakistan and South Sudan have not yet signed this treaty, so they are called as non-signatories, which are the only countries remaining outside the treaty. And the orange one is the first signatory, that is Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is geographically called as North Korea, which is the only country which was a part of NPT and then withdrew from NPT in 2003. So this is the world map where you can look at the nuclear weapon states, non-nuclear weapon states which are not signatories, and also the signatory which have withdrawn from the treaty. So moving on, so every treaty has a background. Here we are having a powerful nuclear background because these are concerned about the weapons which can wipe out humanity several times. So in 1953, it is very famous Atoms for Peace proposal, which is made by the American President Eisenhower in his speech. So according to this speech, it is considered that the nuclear technology must be only used for peaceful purposes instead of destructive purposes. It is very interesting to note that America have made such a move after it have tested its fusion or hydrogen bomb in 1952. And this Atoms for Peace proposal have led to the establishment of 1957 International Atomic Energy Agency to promote and to foresee the use of nuclear technology only for peaceful purposes. And so the basic foundation to the NPT was laid in 1958 after the Irish Foreign Minister, that is Frank Egan, have put forward the resolution stating that the immediate pragmatic need is to prevent the further dissemination of the nuclear weapons. So from this you can say that the world leaders at that time are more concerned that the nuclear weapons will be transferred from one country to another country, mostly from the nuclear weapon states to the non-nuclear weapon states. So they do not want these nuclear weapons, which are powerful weapons, in the hands of other states which have regional issues and also other terrorist organizations. So this made after giving a lot of thought, the United Nations General Assembly gave a call on the negotiations of this particular resolution, Irish resolution. So in 1961. Later, the draft was prepared for NPT and it was opened for signature in 1968. So, in 1970, 5th of March, the NPT was enforced. Okay, so I already told you it is legally binding. So, it is legally binding on the countries which are parties to the treaty. Okay, moving on, what are the basic objectives? So, every treaty has aims and goals. So, what are the objectives of this treaty? So, the first one and the most important one is prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and its technology. So, they don't want to spread this nuclear weapons technology to other states. Okay, and also the cooperation between the nuclear weapon states and the non-nuclear weapon states which are parties to the treaty to fulfill the purpose of nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. Means here peaceful purposes refer to agriculture, research, etc. And the final one and the most important one is achieve nuclear disarmament, which is general and also complete. When you say nuclear disarmament in general means disarming of the nuclear weapon states step by step. Okay, when it leads to complete disarmament, it is like the total elimination of the nuclear weapons. Okay, I hope you understood the objectives because these are very important foundation of the NPT. Now, the basic provisions, what constitutes the NPT? Okay, so NPT is very slim treaty with a preamble and 11 articles. So, under article, as you can see in the slide, article 1 and 2, these are the agreements between the nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states. So, here the nuclear weapon states agree that they would not transfer or manufacture their nuclear technology in the non-nuclear weapon states. Okay. At the same time, the non-nuclear weapon states agree that they would not acquire and they would not manufacture the nuclear weapons. At the same time, they would forego the nuclear weapons forever. And under Article 3, the states which have signed NPT are also party to the safeguards while the transfer of nuclear technology. If not, it will be leading to IAEA, that is International Atomic Energy Agency, conducting inspections in their nuclear plants. Now, Article 4th one is very interesting. Why? Because as you see, it states that the research, development and peaceful use of this nuclear technology is an inalienable right of the states. At the same time, it also puts a lock saying that it is only for the peaceful purposes. And Article 6, it states, it empowers the states which are parties to the treaty, saying that you can negotiate with other states with other like bilateral talks or multilateral talks, so that you can aim for seizing of the nuclear weapons in your countries at the same time in your regions. And Article 7 provides for the establishment of nuclear weapon free zones. These are very important. Why? Because some of the regions in the world they tend to just denuclearize and they wanted to live peacefully. So some of the states in those particular regions come together, and what do is they agree to the framework that they would not acquire the nuclear weapons. Okay. So next one is Article 10th. So this is very important as it provides a loophole in the basic provisions of NPT, because it gives the power to the states to withdraw from NPT. So any state can prove that its sovereignty is jeopardized under extraordinary events. Okay. So the state have to prove that its sovereignty is in threat because of the external aggression, so that they may withdraw from NPT. So North Korea is the first country which have utilized this provision to withdraw from NPT. Okay. So these basic provisions and the objectives are like the soul of NPT. At the same time, the soul of the basic provisions and objective do not determine the success of a treaty. So the success of a treaty relies on how it is going to tackle the current problems. So the current problems are tackled by NPT only through the review conferences. The review conferences, as you see it, initially the NPT was only signed for a period of 25 years, and in the NPT extension and the review conference of 1995, this NPT was extended indefinitely, and also the provision for the review conferences got reaffirmed. So you can say that it is also like the success of the NPT is through these review conferences, because they tackle the problems, and like in 1995 review conference, they have also stated that, see, they have not only extended the NPT indefinitely, but also took a resolution, adopted a resolution on the Middle East, making it a weapon free zone. Here weapons means weapons of mass destruction. And also you can look forward to 2020 review conference, which is postponed to early 2021 due to COVID-19, because here we have to observe whether the member states will ratify the treaty on prohibition of the nuclear weapons or not. Okay, so this is the importance or significance of NPT in the review conferences. Next is the success and challenges. So here we can say that it is very near universality treaty, so it of course it is very successful, but also in each and every aspect it is also challenged. For example, you can say that near universality, yes, most of the states are parties to it, but there is also a challenge to bring the other states which are not parties to the treaty to the negotiating table. And next one is establishment of nuclear weapon free zones. So according to this provision, it is utilized by so many regions. They have established these nuclear weapon free zones, and for example it is like Central Asian nuclear weapon free zone area and Southeast Asian nuclear weapon free zone area, and others like South Africa and Central America is also part of these. So it is a huge success. At the same time, when Southeast Asia is moving towards the nuclear weapon free zone area, the other regions like South Asia is moving towards the proliferation of the nuclear weapons. So it is also a challenge. Now the International Atomic Energy Agency have concluded comprehensive safeguards agreements with 175 states. So you can say that it is also another success, because the International Atomic Energy Agency will have wider implications to go and conduct the inspections in these countries. But the challenge is Iran's nuclear program, as we all know it. Okay, so what happened is, in Iran's nuclear plants, it have conducted tests, it have conducted inspections, so but still they have not halted the nuclear program. So under bilateral talks, 2000 warheads are eliminated by US and USSR. At the same time, at present there are 14,000 stockpile nuclear weapons which are yet to be settled by the NPT. Okay, so these are the success and challenges. Next one is failures. So every treaty has a loophole, at the same time it has failures. So the failures we are going to discuss with countries like India, which is not a party to the treaty, Brazil, which is a signatory to the treaty, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which have withdrawn from NPT. India have stated that, as you can see in the map, these three are the countries we are talking about. India has stated that NPT is discriminatory because its provisions create the nuclear haves and also nuclear have-nots. So it also stated that the nation's intentions can change suddenly, but a nation's capabilities cannot be built suddenly. So it is also true to some extent if we see from the perspective of the sovereign state. And also nowadays the growing relations between India and also USA have led to so many countries raising their brows on India and US relations after USA have announced India as major defense partner. Okay, so this is also another failure because it is not ensuring the regional security and also not eliminating the provisions which are like they are discriminatory in nature. Okay, moving to Brazil. Brazil is the first signatory to NPT and it is also a role model country for the Central American countries. Why? Because this country have started the nuclear powered submarine program. Even though it is a party to these treaties and the IAEA inspections, it did not have, it means they have failed to check the nuclear program of this country. So it is also a failure for NPT. And the North Korea, as you see, it is still nuclear, it is proliferating at a rapid pace. So it is also failure of NPT and also other world leaders to bring back this country to the negotiating table. Okay, so you have to understand here the failures of a treaty does not only depend on the treaty itself but also on the sovereign interests of the state. Next one is, what is the future ahead? So we have to look forward to two treaties which should be enforced. That is Treaty on Prohibition of the Nuclear Weapons, which will be eliminating all the nuclear weapons in the world, and also on the Middle East, which will be making Middle East a weapon-free zone area. So weapons of mass destruction here refers not only to nuclear but also biological and chemical. So what are the questions to be posed from this topic, both in the academics and also thought-provoking process? Is NPT discriminatory? As India has stated, is it discriminatory, and what provisions do you find discriminatory? It is asked mostly in academics like NPT and India. And proliferation of nuclear weapons, is it a security or threat? And does the space explorations for extraterrestrial life of first world countries have any implications to the consequences of nuclear war? As you have seen, due to COVID-19, most of the rich people have migrated to their farmhouses. Is it in the same way that the first world countries are they trying to leave the planet Earth in case if there is an outbreak of nuclear war? According to realists, war is inevitable, so war will happen in any way, and are we ready to face or survive such war? What if India decides to join NPT as non-nuclear weapon state? So this path was followed by South Africa in 1991, where it have totally eliminated its nuclear program and joined the NPT. So can India do the same? So here, as you can see, that the NPT is the most successful of the treaties which have so far been signed in the arms control measures. At the same time, it is celebrating its 50th anniversary at the 2020 review conference. It is also to conclude, the humanitarian aspect on environment, human beings, animals and plants should be brought into notice of the nuclear weapon states, so that they would forego these nuclear programs. At the same time, we are the leaders, motivators and makers of this generation and the next generation. So it is our prime responsibility to foresee a world without nuclear weapons, in that case any weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so I hope you have understood this NPT, and I would like to thank the social welfare residential institutions for providing me this opportunity, and also the staff of Ibrahimpatnam College. Thank you.